Hello, we are continuing our discussions on continuous functions on intervals. Today we will study maximum minimum theorem. So first let's see what is meant by absolute maximum and absolute minimum. Let A be a subset of R and f is a function from A to R. We say that f has an absolute maximum on A if there exists some element x star in A. This x star is in the domain of f such that f of x star is greater than or equal to f of x for every x element of A. So there exists some point in the domain of f at which the function attains its maximum. Then we say that the function has an absolute maximum. And we say that f has an absolute minimum on A if there exists some x lower star in A such that f of x lower star is less than or equal to f of x for all x element of A. So f attains its minimum value f of x attains its minimum value at some point x lower star of A. In that case we say that f has an absolute minimum. Now the point x upper star is an absolute maximum point of A. We will call this x upper star as an absolute maximum point of f on A. Similarly, x lower star is an absolute minimum point of f on A. And the value f of x upper star, the maximum value of f is the absolute maximum value of f on A, and f of x lower star is the absolute minimum value of f on A. So for example, if we consider the function f of x equal to some x square minus of x square for x element of say minus 1, 2. In this case, let's consider the graph. This is minus 1. Here we have 2. So f of minus 1 is minus of minus 1 square, which is minus 1. Then f of 0 will be 0. Then f of 1 will be again minus 1. F of 2 will be minus 4. So this will be the graph of the function. So we can see that the function attains a maximum at the point 0. So we will say that here x upper star is equal to 0. And function attains a minimum value at the point 2. So here x lower star is equal to 2. So 0 is the absolute maximum point of f on the interval minus 1, 2. And 2 is the absolute minimum point of f on the interval closed interval minus 1, 2. And f of x upper star means f of 0, which is 0 itself. So f of 0, which is equal to 0, is the absolute maximum value of f on this interval. And f of 2 is minus of 2 square, that is minus 4. So f of x lower star, which is f of 2, which is equal to minus 4, is the absolute minimum value of f on A. And a function may or may not have an absolute maximum or minimum in its domain. It is not necessary that a function should have an absolute maximum or it should have an absolute minimum in the domain. Let's see some examples. So here, in the first case I am taking f of x equal to 1 by x. The function is f of x equal to 1 by x and the domain is open interval 0 infinity. So what will be the range of f of open interval 0 infinity is open interval 0 infinity itself. So this does not have an absolute maximum here because this set is not bounded above, and it is bounded below by 0, but there does not exist any x in open interval 0 infinity at which the function has value 0. So this does not have an absolute maximum or absolute minimum. And next I am considering the same function f of x equal to 1 by x on the interval open interval 0 1. So what will be f of open interval 0 1? It will be open interval 1 to infinity. So still this is not bounded above, so it does not have an absolute maximum value. It is bounded below by 1, but there does not exist any x in open interval 0 1 at which 1 by x is equal to 1. 1 by x equal to 1 when x is equal to 1, but 1 is not an element of this set. So this does not have an absolute minimum also. Now I am taking the same function on the interval open 0 closed 1. Now the range of f will be, or f of open 0 closed 1 will be closed 1 infinity. Still this does not have an absolute maximum since the range is not bounded above, but it is bounded below by 1, and at the point 1 in the domain f of 1 is equal to 1 itself. So it has an absolute minimum at x equal to 1 but does not have an absolute maximum. Now if I take f of x is equal to 1 by x when x is in closed interval 1 2, then range of f, or f of closed interval 1 2 is equal to 1 by 2 1. So it is both bounded below and bounded above, and we know that f of 1 is equal to 1, f of 2 is equal to 1 by 2. So at the point 1 in the domain the function attains its maximum, and at the point 2 in the domain the function attains its minimum. So now this function has an absolute maximum at x equal to 1 and absolute minimum at x equal to 2. So in all the four cases we are considering the same function f of x equal to 1 by x, but its domain changes. So according to that the function may have an absolute maximum or may not have an absolute maximum. Similarly, the function may have an absolute minimum or may not have an absolute minimum. Now suppose f of x equal to x square and x is in closed interval 0 7, then it attains an absolute maximum at x equal to 7 and absolute minimum at x equal to 0. So what will be the absolute maximum value? Absolute maximum value is f of 7, which is 7 square, equal to 49, and absolute minimum value of the function is f of 0, it is 0. Now I am considering f of x equal to x square in the interval closed interval minus 5 5. So this function attains absolute maximum at x equal to minus 5 as well as at x equal to 5, and it attains absolute minimum at x equal to 0. So the point at which the function attains a maximum or minimum may not be unique. There may be more than one point at which the function attains an absolute maximum. For example, consider the sine function. We know that the graph of sine function is like this, and it attains a maximum at pi by 2. Then pi by 2 plus 2 pi means 5 pi by 2, or pi by 2 plus 4 pi. At all these points points the function sin x attains its maximum value 1. So there are infinitely many points at which the function sin x attains its maximum value. Similarly, there are infinitely many points at which the sine function attains its minimum value. The minimum value of sin x is -1, and the function takes the value -1 at x equal to 3 pi by 2, 3 pi by 2 plus 2 pi, 3 pi by 2 plus 4 pi, and so on. Now, consider the function f of x equal to 1, or consider any constant function on the set of all real numbers. Then every point is an absolute maximum. Similarly, every point is a point of absolute minimum. So in the case of constant function, every point in the domain is a point of absolute maximum as well as point of absolute minimum. Now, we are going to start our discussion on maximum minimum theorem. So this theorem says when a function has absolute maximum and absolute minimum for sure. So the statement says that let I equal to closed interval AB be a closed bounded interval, and let f from I to R be continuous on I. Then f has an absolute maximum and an absolute minimum on I. So whenever we are considering a continuous function on a closed bounded interval, then surely it will attain an absolute maximum as well as absolute minimum. This condition is sufficient for a function to have absolute maximum and absolute minimum, but this is not necessary, because we know that the sin x always the function sin x, if we consider the domain as the entire real line, it is not a bounded interval, but still it attains an absolute maximum as well as absolute minimum. So this condition is not necessary, this is sufficient. If f is a continuous function on a closed bounded interval, then we can say that the function attains an absolute maximum as well as absolute minimum on I. So let's prove this theorem. Let I equal to closed interval AB be a closed bounded interval, and we are considering a continuous function on I. Let f from I to R be a continuous function on I. Then the boundedness theorem says that f is a bounded function, because we are considering a continuous function on a closed bounded interval. Therefore f is a bounded function. F is bounded means its range is a bounded set. So f of I, which is equal to set of all f of x where x element of I is a bounded set. Bounded set means this has an upper bound as well as lower bound. Then the completeness theorem, completeness property of R says that this range set f of I has a supremum as well as infimum in R. This is not completeness theorem, it is completeness property of R. Okay, so f of I will have a supremum as well as infimum in R. We will denote the supremum of f of I by s upper star and infimum of f of I by s lower star. Now, we know that supremum means it is the least upper bound. So s upper star is the least upper bound of f of I. So anything less than s upper star is not it is not an upper bound. S upper star is the least upper bound, least among the upper bounds. So anything less than that is not an upper bound. So I am considering s upper star minus 1 by n. So s upper star minus 1 by n is not an upper bound of f of I for any n element of n. Something is not an upper bound of a set if there is some element in that set which is greater than that number. So S upper star minus 1 by n is not an upper bound means there is some element in f of I which is greater than S upper star minus 1 by n. Say there is some y in f of I where y is greater than S upper star minus 1 by n. But any element of f of I is of the form f of x for some x in I. So we can say that for each n element of natural numbers, there exists some xn element of I such that f of xn is greater than S upper star minus 1 by n. Because we will consider infinitely many elements here, S upper star minus 1, S upper star minus 1 by 2, S upper star minus 1 by 3 and so on. So with respect to n, this xn may, this x may change. So we will denote it by xn. So corresponding to each natural number, there exists an xn in I such that f of xn is greater than S upper star minus 1 by n. Now, S upper star minus 1 by n is less than f of xn. And S upper star is an upper bound of f of I means f of xn is less than or equal to S upper star for all n element of natural numbers. Now, if we take limit throughout, we will get S upper star less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to limit of f of xn less than or equal to S upper star means limit of f of xn is equal to S upper star. By Squeeze theorem, we will get limit of f of xn is equal to S upper star. Now we have a sequence xn from I. Sequence xn is a sequence in I. I is a bounded set. Therefore, sequence xn is a bounded sequence. So by Bolzano-Weierstrass theorem, we can say that the sequence xn has a convergent subsequence, say xnk. Okay, so subsequence xnk is convergent means this has a limit. We will call it x upper star. So we let x upper star is equal to limit of xnk. Again, the set I is a closed set and every xn is in I means every xnk is in I. If every xnk is in I, limit of xnk should also be in I itself since I is closed. So this means x upper star is an element of I itself. Also given that f is continuous on I means f is continuous at each and every point of I. So f is continuous at the point x upper star. Now limit of f of xnk must be same as f of x upper star because we know that by the definition of continuity using sequences, whenever xnk converges to x upper star, f of xnk must converge to f of x upper star since f is a continuous function. So now we have limit of f of xnk is equal to f of x upper star. But in equation 1 we got limit of f of xn is equal to s upper star. If sequence f of xn converges to s upper star, every subsequence of f of xn also converges to s upper star. So this implies limit of f of xnk is equal to s upper star. Now we have limit of f of xnk equal to s upper star as well as limit of f of xnk is equal to f of x upper star. But the limit of a sequence is unique. So we can say that this s upper star is same as f of x upper star. S upper star is same as f of x upper star. So means this S star was supremum of f of I. So we know that S star is greater than or equal to f of x for all x element of I. Now this S star is nothing but f of x upper star. So f of x upper star is greater than or equal to f of x for all x element of I. Means x star is a point of absolute maximum and the absolute maximum value is f of x upper star equal to s upper star. So any continuous function on a closed bounded interval attains an absolute maximum in its domain. In the similar way, we can prove that f attains absolute minimum at some point x lower star and the absolute minimum value is f of x lower star equal to s lower star. Hence, the maximum minimum theorem.